Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So last session, I give the summary what we discussed in the last session. So last session we discussed about like I would say Java. What is Java? Okay, I can say what is Java, and I can say Java features. What is the difference between programming language and language and programming language, and we discussed about Java history. Java history meaning which version currently we are using and what is the history and all we learned in the Java history. Next we learned about how to download JDK software, JDK software, and we learned about I would say Java program execution flow, Java program execution flow, and we learned about compilation, Java program development, Java program development, Java program development, and we learned about uh, translators, trans, translators in Java. I would say there are three translators, meaning we learned about interpreter, and next compiler, and next how the assembler. These are the three translators actually. These are the three translators we learned in the last session, and like we learned like what is compilation. I can say what is compilation and what is execution. What is execution? How we can like in the last session we learned we write one program, and that program how we compiled and we execute, how we can execute the program we can learn in the last session. Execution, and next thing is JVM architecture. JVM architecture. JVM architecture. So these are the things we learned so far. Okay, so today we'll go ahead with the topic that is called variables and data types. Variables and data types. So what does it mean by variables and data types? We'll go ahead with one by one. Today we'll go ahead with variables and data types. Variables and data types. Guys, the variables are divided into three types: instance variable, static variable, and local variable. So as of now, we are discussing only the meaning of the variable. The types of variables we will discuss at the time of OOPS concept. I will tell you. Okay, so basically now we are going to learn only what is variable. What is variable? So generally variables are used to store the data during the program execution. So generally variables are variables are used to store the data, store the.
Sir, your screen is not visible, sir.
Oh, sorry. I thought I shared the screen. Sorry, sorry guys, I thought I shared the screen. Yeah. Variables are used to store the data during the program execution. During the program execution. During the program execution. Next, we need to specify type of variable to store the data. We need to specify type of the variable to store the data. We need to specify type of variable to store the data. To store the data. Okay. Next, to specify the type of data, we will use data types. To specify, I can say to specify type of data, type of data, we will use data types. We will use data types. We will use data types. The syntax. The syntax. We can declare variable syntax, variable declaration, variable declaration. How we can declare the variable? Variable declaration. The syntax should be like this. Syntax. The syntax should be like this. Like I can say data type and variable name, data types and variable, data type and variable. This is called variable declaration. To declare the, we will follow the syntax like this. How we can declare? We can declare the variable like this: data type and variable, data type and variable. Okay. So generally, the variables are which are used to. For example, if I want to store the data, int the variable name you can mention anything. Variable name equal to some 20, meaning 20 is the value. This 20 value I am assigning to the variable. The variable name is the this one. This is the container, and this 20 I am assigning to the variable name. I am assigning to the variable name. I am assigning to the variable name. Okay. So as of now, variable meaning variables which are used to, variables are the containers. Variables which are used to store the data during the program execution, and we need to specify type of variable and type of variable to store the data, and to specify the type of data we will use data types. We will use data types. Next, so what does it mean by data types? What does it mean by data types? So data types, generally data types are used to specify the type of data. Data types are to specify the type of data. Specify the type of data. Specify the type of data, and data types are divided into two categories. Data types divided into two categories. Two categories. So the two categories are called, first one is the primitive data types, and the second one is non-primitive data type. Second one is non-primitive data types. Primitive data types, why they people they are categorized into two types. So generally, so under the primitive data types, again, which is having, I will use my MS page, MS page on the folder. So generally, mm, I'm taking image properties. Okay, now, okay, so the thing is data types. Data types is generally divided into two types. Data types which are used to specify the type of data. To specify the type of data, and the data types is divided into two types. Data types, two types. So first one is primitive data types, and second one is non-primitive data types. This is called primitive data types. Primitive data types, and the second one is non-primitive data types. Non-primitive data types. So generally, again, the primitive data types is divided into four groups. Four groups. Those are like number, I would say number type. This is again, it is divided into four groups. One is number, number type, and the second one is decimal, and decimal type, and after that uh, character type, and boolean type. Boolean, boolean type. So under the number type category, so where we have I would say byte, int, short, long. These are the data types. And under the decimal category, we have the data types are like float, and I can say mm, float and double. Under the char type, we have only char, and under the boolean, we have the boolean type, boolean type, boolean type. So these are the data types. Okay. So under the non-primitive data types, what we have generally arrays and strings and collection. Collection. So these are the data types. So why like so why the people they are divided into two categories generally. So if you go with the primitive data types, it can hold only single value. It can hold only single value. If you want to store the multiple values, then we can go with the non-primitive data types. Then we can go with the non-primitive data types. Then we can go with the non-primitive data types. So we'll go ahead by one, like primitive data types. Primitive data types is divided into generally there are total eight types. So we'll go ahead with one by one, like primitive data types. Primitive data types. So generally primitive data types are divided into total eight types. Primitive data types generally divided into primitive data types are divided into total eight types. Eight types. Those are like int, byte, short, long, float, double boolean, float, double boolean, and char 6, 7, byte, int, long. Uh, Here we have one more thing. What of 6? Byte, short, int, long, and I can say We mention long, yeah, long also. Inter.
int, sir.
This is we mention inter. So total eight data types: byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, and char. Boolean and char. Boolean and char. So here the thing is, we'll go with first. We'll go with the integer types. We'll go with integer types. Integer types. Integer types generally. Integer types. In the integer type, we have like byte and short and int long. These are belong. These four all belong to integer types. So then, what is the difference between these four groups? Generally, the difference is only the size. The difference is only the size. The size, it should be uh, the size range is minus 128 to 127 is the size. Okay, and short, the size of that uh, short data type is 32 minus 32k to plus 32k, and the size of integer, the size is around I will the size is, this is bigger only. For example, if you take normal I will tell you normal one psychological example, like which is similar to some. If you take the water bottles, which is similar to half liter water bottle, and if you take only the size is the difference, remaining they can, it can hold the values in between minus 127 minus 127 to plus 127, and this is the range and which is in between, that I will show you the sizes and all. You can give the clarity on it. Size, go ahead with the sizes. These are the data types, guys. So we are discussing about the data types. Data, data types are used to specify the data. Data types are divided into two categories. One is the primitive data types, and second one is the non-primitive data types. Non-primitive data types. Again, primitive data types is categorized into four groups: number type, decimal type, and character type, and boolean type. And boolean type. In the number type, we have the byte, short, int, long. So these four are based on their size. Generally, if we go with here, if you go with here, if you see byte size is minus 128 to 127, and you can go with the short. The size of the short data type is minus 32k to 32k, and the size of int, the size of int data type is this number, around 214 crores. So this is the number. This is the big number actually, and the size of long is the this number. This number, okay. And default values. The default values for byte, short. This is the interview perspective. So if you attend the interview, they will ask like, what is the default values for the int? What is the default values? So obviously the default values for all like byte, int, short, int, long, all the default values are zero only. All the default values are the 0. So default value is the 0, default value is the 0, and default value is the 0, and default value is the 0. So for all integer types, default value is the 0. Default value is the 0. Next one is next one is float. Float. Float meaning it is the 4 bytes and the default value is the 0.0f. And example, how you can mention the float data type is float data type. You can mention the float data type, and ff equal to ff is the, I would say, variable name, and 10.3 is the float value. Float value. Next, double size is 8 bits, 8 bytes, and the data type is, and the default value is 0.0d, and example is double dv equal to 1.123. 1.123. Next, character meaning which is used to store the single character. Character data type is used to store the single character. Next, any single character, that might be the any single character, that might be the alphabet, digit, special character. You can store using char data type. Next, the memory of char data type is the 2 bytes. 2 bytes. This is the syntax. So when you are storing the data type into the char data type, single quotation is mandatory. Single quotation is the mandatory, and it has the 2 bytes, and the range is this one. The range is this one. Next, boolean. It is used to store true or false values only, and it will occupy 1 bit memory, and default value for the boolean is 0. Default value for the boolean is the 0. This is all 8 data types. This is 8 data types. The thing is, I will give the assignment like write a Java program to print all literals. To print all the literals available in the Java. Then you can take one file. You can take one file. So for example, you can write the Java program. So in the last session, we done with a demo and then right. Now print all the literals. The question is write a Java program to print all literals. To print all literals. Okay, fine. Now first we can take the byte data type, and this is the, I can say, data type, and this is the variable name, and this is the value. Here one more important point is there are two words: variable initialization, variable declaration, and variable initialization. Variable initialization. Variable initialization. Variable declaration meaning the syntax for the variable declaration is we can take the variable we should mention the variable data type and variable. This is called variable declaration. Variable name. This is called variable declaration. Variable declaration. Variable initialization meaning we need to pass the we need to assign some values to the variable. For example, I would like to take the data type and variable name equal to some value like 20. Meaning here what I am doing, 20 is the value. 20 value I am assigning to the variable. 20 value I am assigning to the variable. This is called variable initialization. Variable initialization meaning I am initializing the variable with value. I am initializing the variable with value. I am initializing the variable with value. That is called variable initialization. That is called variable initialization. Okay, now here I am doing the variable initialization by the b equal to I can say 10, and next next we can take remaining all like short data type. Short data type is equal to some, I can say some, I would like to mention some number 200, and int I equal to some 2000, and the next I can say long L equal to, so we can take some 500. Next float, we can take with the float f equal to like 3 point any number 3 4 or like that you can mention. Next double, next double d equal to next I can say yeah, next char meaning you can able to store only single value. Now I want to print all these values. If you want to print all these values, manually you should take the print statement. System dot print dot println, and you can here you can mention like the value of b. This is the concatenation value of b variable. This is the concatenation. We can write like this. This is the one way, or else directly can. This is a concatenation meaning string plus variable is called concatenation. String plus variable is called concatenation. So the same statement I am copying from here, and then I am pasting here, and then I will change the variable names. I will change the variable names. You can take different statements, or you can mention in single statement also. You can mention in single statement also. Now as of now I'm taking different statements for printing all. So here I will mention the variable, the value of s equal to s, and the value of I equal to I, and next the value of L equal to L. Here also the value of f equal to f, and here also the value of d equal to d, and here also the value of c equal to. Now you can save the file, and you can go to the command prompt, and you can run the file, and then you can see the java c. The file name is demo.java, and demo.java you should mention where this coming. So it made the mistakes. Println. The method name is the println. Can change that one. Println. Here also can change println. Okay, now you can save this one. Mention here also float. Now you can come to here, check. Now we can compile and then see. Compile the file. Yes, file has successfully compiled, and you can run the file. I can say Java demo. You can see all the values. The value of b, is 10, the value of s 200, the value of I lfdc lfdc. So this is the one program you can do. Okay, next one is you can go ahead with this is the program we did. So variable declaration meaning, so defining the variable with the data type, defining the variable with the data type, and variable initialization meaning storing the value into variable, storing the value into variable, storing the value into variable. So next we have the identifiers. So identifiers we'll see in the next session. So today what you guys will do, you guys please go ahead with variables and data types, variables and data types. So the types of we will be discussed at the time of OOPS concept, and we will be discussed at the time of OOPS concept. Okay. So today what you guys will do, you can go with variables and the data types, variables and data types, and the assignment is write a Java program on literals, write a Java program on literals. Okay, so this is your assignment today, guys. So please go through that and do the assignment. And every Friday, you guys will have the doubt session. Okay, every Friday, you will be having the doubt session. If you have any doubts, you can ask on, I would say, every Friday, we will be having doubt session from Monday to Thursday classes. Every Friday, we'll be having doubt session. If you have any doubts, okay, you can ask. Okay. Any questions? If you have, if you guys have any other questions, any questions, guys? Anyone? Okay, so please share your opinions, guys.